Shameless, the hit TV show which gave us 11 seasons of the Gallagher family's exploits, was also known for breaking its fans' hearts as well as giving us a ton of laughs along the way. Starring William H. Macy as the down-and-out bum Frank, the show provided compelling TV from the very first moment it aired. Today we're talking about 10 times Shameless broke its fans' hearts, so stay where you are. In at number 10, we have Monica's attempted suicide. After hightailing it and leaving the kids to Frank's stellar idea of parenthood before the show started, Monica returned during season 2 to play Mum once again. During Thanksgiving, the whole Gallagher clan are enjoying food and drinks when Monica excuses herself from the table under the premise of washing her hands. Fiona hears an odd noise in the kitchen and the clan go to investigate, where they find Monica slumped against the kitchen cupboards, having cut her own wrists. Jimmy applies pressure to the wounds whilst Fiona calls the ambulance. It turned out that Monica had not been taking her bipolar medication and was suffering mentally. In a truly heartbreaking scene, we see Fiona and Jimmy cleaning up her blood and tears. Next up at 9, it's Mickey and Ian's relationship. Living a secret life can be tough, but living as your true self in a rough environment can be even tougher. Mickey and Ian have to put up with constant harassment regarding their lifestyle, especially from Terry, Mickey's dad, who catches the pair in season 3 and decides to teach them a lesson by handing out a beating. Terry pistol whips his own son, who is usually a tough and pretty feared guy himself, and orders him to have sex with a prostitute in a horrific scene which breaks fans' hearts. What a horrible father Terry really is. Who's your favorite character on the show? At 8, we have Liam being left unsupervised at the party. During one episode, Robbie turns up at the Gallagher house with a bag of cocaine ready to party. Whilst Fiona, Lip, Veronica, and Kevin are supposed to be watching Liam, they tell Robbie to leave, but keep a hold of the coke and begin partying. They leave Liam alone for a second mid-party, and Fiona comes into the kitchen only to find Liam's face covered in blow. Obviously, this is a huge concern due to Liam's young age. Even a tiny amount of cocaine can cause a child to overdose, and the child is rushed to the hospital, where Fiona is promptly arrested. It's tough to watch as Fiona is usually so careful with her siblings, and also it's difficult seeing a child in danger. What did you make of this scene? DFS separating the Gallagher kids is in at number 7, Stay With Us. Frank Gallagher, as we know, is one of the worst characters ever depicted on TV. He's a terrible, selfish father and often engages in spiteful acts, all with the end goal of bettering his life and nobody else's. In one of these acts of spitefulness, he called the Department of Family Services on his own children after he realized he could not keep them, which would result in the alcoholic patriarch of the Gallagher family losing a serious amount of cash from lost welfare checks. The episode pulls on the heartstrings of fans as the children come to realize they're going to be separated, some even going to different homes alone. Some of the children are subjected to horrific conditions. For example, Debbie being treated as a slave whilst Liam ends up with a nice gay couple. What did you make of Frank's behavior in this episode? Let us know below. Number 6 is Ian's diagnosis. During season 5, Ian is visibly struggling with his mental health, and after being encouraged by Mickey and his siblings, he decides to check himself into a psychiatric hospital for 3 days. He's diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is worrying for the character as he notices obvious similarities with his mother, who, as we know, attempted suicide in the earlier seasons. Ian's been showing erratic behavior gradually more and more throughout the 5th season, and it comes to a climax when he disappears for a night and agrees to take part in an unprotected pornographic movie. When Mickey finds out, he realizes the true extent of Ian's mental difficulties, but Ian refuses to accept there is something wrong with him. He enters the mental ward and is clinically diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which fans found particularly difficult to watch as he's a fan favorite and one of the most likable characters on the show. What did you make of Ian's problems in season 5? Let us know in the comments section. At 5, we're talking Monica's death. Stay tuned. As we discussed earlier, Monica is a character on the show who has serious problems. She's a negative presence for her children a lot of the time, and often coming and going on the show. In season 7, she reappears once again, and during a drug and drink-fueled night, she and Frank decide to renew their marriage vows. In a heartbreaking scene, Frank tries to wake her the morning after their binge, having also argued before they went to bed, but cannot wake her. She's passed during the night due to a brain aneurysm. Equally as heartbreaking is the Gallagher children's reaction to their mother's death. Due to the way Monica had treated them a lot of the time, the children were largely apathetic to their mother's demise, but Frank was clearly upset at her death. Hopefully, he perked up mentally when he realized Monica left the family 70 pounds of meth. Only on Shameless, right? At 4, we have Lip's booze worries. Lip Gallagher is an anomaly in the fact that he comes from a family of degenerates, but he's actually an intelligent and loyal character. This makes him a highly relatable character and makes his problems with booze all the more difficult to watch. His problems start after he is admitted to college but struggles to find the correct balance between his studies and work. During season 7, he hits rock bottom after a particular bender and he ends up getting into a fight with his girlfriend, who decides to dump him after his use of alcohol grows out of control. Lip then decides to gate crash the house of an ex where he breaks in to sleep on the floor. Thankfully, Lip himself realizes his problems and decides to seek help, attending AA meetings and ultimately being given a reprieve from the school board, who were considering kicking him out of college. Lip's storyline in season 7 is particularly difficult to watch for fans who didn't enjoy seeing him break. Number 3 is Fiona's departure. Stick around. Fiona, who is played by the excellent Emmy Rossum, is one of the most loved characters on the entire show. She's loyal and scraps hard to care for her younger siblings throughout the entirety of the show. Because of this, she has some of the most heartbreaking storylines on Shameless, none more so than when she decides to leave. After the storyline with Liam, which we covered earlier, Fiona's life spirals out of control. She took loans out against the family house in an attempt to get her own place and sort her life out. It doesn't work out for her though, and she begins drinking and ultimately gets arrested after fighting. Fiona then attends AA with Lip, where she bumps into an old friend who offers her $100,000 for her investment in the house. She leaves the rest of the Gallagher $50,000 after telling them she's leaving. However, she never turns up to her leaving party, having decided to just blow dodge. What did you make of Fiona's arc? At 2, it's Lip's fight for his kid. This moment comes in a happy episode, the marriage of Mickey and Ian. Lip and Tami, who gave birth to Freddie in season 10, are constantly arguing about where to live. Tami then tells Lip he can live wherever he wants, as she is planning on taking Freddie. Lip begs her for more access to his child and even offers to leave his family and move in with Tami and Freddie, which he maybe should have done sooner. The episode is also pretty heartbreaking as it shows Lip falling off the wagon and having his first drink since becoming sober. Number 1 is Frank's end. Stay with us. Frank Gallagher is one of those people who can seemingly survive anything. Throughout the series, Frank has many near-death experiences due to his love of illegal drugs like no man ever before him. In the season 11 finale, Frank is again admitted to hospital after suffering symptoms of COVID-19, and after experiencing some pretty horrific symptoms, Frank passes, much to the disbelief of fans. Frank, in true Frank fashion, leaves a note to his kids, who read it before his funeral, providing the most emotional moment of the entire series, right at its very end. It was a fitting way to end the show with a heartbreaking moment we had become accustomed to throughout. Which of these moments did you think was the most heartbreaking? Are there any we've missed through the series? Let us know below. As always, thanks for tuning in today. Remember to stop by next time for some more fun and games. Also, why not do us a favor? Share a video today with any Shameless fans you know of. Adios, amigos.